with a night game here on Wednesday night.
Let me tell you what, Marty, remember what was the year 77 that we started the season without that, and I think thinking back, we saw some pretty good officiating.
You know, as much as the regular umpires probably don't want to hear it, the level of umpiring back then was amazingly good. Not to say that the pros are not conscientious. They are. They're considered to be the best at their profession in the world. But when you give amateur umpires, guys who have worked for years and years and years on a high school and collegiate level, a chance to work in the big time, it's a dream come true for a lot of these guys, and they really bear down big time.
Well, they'll probably get a true test today if there's a close play because this gentleman on this side over here, he won't forget their amateurs real quick.
It's interesting because you have one at one end of the spectrum and one at one end. Lou, of course, fiery and intense and ultra competitive. Not to say that Houston manager Art Howe isn't. He's a very competitive guy, but he doesn't wear his emotions on his sleeve the way Lou Piniella does.
And I think, you know, where Art is concerned, he's got an awful lot of questions, as we talked about earlier. You figure this ball club of Houston is coming off a season where they only won 75 games last year. 3/4 of the team he had is gone. He's got a lot of unproven kids. Now, they had a great spring. You look at the stats in spring training. These youngsters played awfully well down there.
Well, that's the one thing that Art Howe is banking on. And, you know, people poo-poo his opinions as to what might happen with this ball club. But when he starts talking about the comparisons with the Chicago White Sox going into 1990 and the Baltimore Orioles of a couple of years ago, again, the experts say there's no way, because those clubs had better talent than this team does here in Houston to begin with. But who knows what might happen? You got a bunch of young kids, and I'm going to tell you, folks, you're going to hear names today you probably had never heard before, because they have had a tremendous turnover in personnel. But I can guarantee you one thing, they'll play extremely hard.
Because they know somebody at the AAA level is going to get a chance if they don't, so they got to play.
Art Howe heading back toward the Houston dugout on the third base side. Lou Piniella, the native of Tampa, Florida, former manager of the Yankees, in his second year as skipper of the Cincinnati Reds, taking a look at that lineup card, and now handing it off to his first lieutenant, Coach Jackie Moore, for his ongoing perusal. And now the Reds take the field. And as the Reds take the field, it starts to darken up just a little bit more. So hopefully we'll be able to dodge the bullet. Forecast, of course, was for 90% chance of scattered showers today. And that, as a matter of fact, is what it has been without question. And maybe in answering a question that you might have been posing, yes, the lights have already been turned on. We've got a bit of a breeze, but very, very comfortable and rather humid conditions. And with the Reds on the field, Gordy, let's take a look at the Houston lineup.
All right, thank you, Marty. All righty, Art Howe for the Toyota starting lineup. Here we go. At shortstop, leading off, Eric Gilling. Center fielder, Steve Finley, will hit second. Their catcher, Craig Biggio, will hit third. Their cleanup hitter will be left fielder, Luis Gonzalez. At third base, hitting fifth, Ken Caminiti. The first baseman, Jeff Bagwell, followed by right fielder, Carl Rose from Cincinnati. The second baseman will hit eighth, Mark McLemore. And the pitcher, Mike Scott, will hit ninth. Tom Browning on the mound for the Reds today. 1990 stats. Did a great job. 15-9 record with a 3.80. 35 starts. He's the kind of guy who'll go out every fifth day for you and loves to do it.
Well, he'll take the baseball. Make no mistake about that. His 35 starts in 1990 once again led the National League. 15 wins, 9 losses, 380 earned run average during the spring. Browning worked a total of, his last was 2-1 with a 4.44 ERA, giving up 13 earned runs in 26 1/3 innings of pitching in 6 starts this season. So we are set to go as Browning takes a stroll around the infield, and there's the Cincinnati defense.
Okay, in the outfield, left to right, Billy Hatcher in left, Eric Davis in center, over in right field, Paul O'Neill. The third baseman is Chris Sabo. The shortstop, Barry Larkin. At second base, it says Doran, but that's not true. Mariano Duncan's at second. The first baseman is Hal Morris. The catcher is Jeff Reed, and Tom Browning on the mound.
And that young man is Eric Yelding, the Houston shortstop, and the leadoff batter to get things started here. Browning into the windup. It's taken high for a ball, and the 1991 baseball season is underway.
This young man's really come on strong, Marty. You feel like, you know, he took over a pretty good job there from Ramirez.
In there for a called strike. Batted .254 last year. Hit 1 homer, drove in 28 runs. He has excellent speed. He's a guy you want to keep off the bases at all costs. Hit it hard, but a souvenir. The first of this new baseball season, and the count goes to 1 ball and 2 strikes on leadoff batter Yelding.
He stole 64 bases last year, but he only had 15 extra base hits. So you're just looking for him with that hit that ball and run.
Outfield playing him straight away. Larkin short hopping and throwing, and Yelding is gone. Now we'll take a look at one of the newcomers on this club, center fielder Steve Finley, a young man who was involved in that Glenn Davis trade. Astros feel like they've got some folks that can really help this team, and they're going for the youth now. Anytime they make a deal, they're looking either for prospects or young players who can help the big league ball club right now. Finley.
Young man's got good speed. He stole 22 bases for the Orioles last year.
Browning gets ahead, which he normally does. He batted .256 for the Orioles last season. But like Yelding, not a power hitter, 3 home runs and 37 RBIs. 0-2.
After looking at their stat sheet, he had a little tough time with left-handers last year. He had only 193, so that might be one of his drawbacks.
Well, Art Howe, at least going into the season, is going to give him an opportunity to prove that he's a better hitter against left-handed pitching that he showed last year for Frank Robinson. Browning has him in trouble. And just low for a ball.
You know, it looked like to me we saw him work his last ball game in spring training now, and the Tom's throwing the ball about as good as he can throw it.
I tell you, he finished very strong, Gordy. He threw the ball very well his last time out. 6 innings, 7 hits and a run. Here's a high pop. Sabo or Larkin. Barry makes it out, number 2. So 2 away with nobody on base, and the hitter will be catcher Craig Biggio. They have tried this young man on the infield, on the outfield, and they have finally come to the realization that if we play him anywhere other than behind the plate, with the shortage of quality catching in the major leagues as it is, we're going to have a major problem on our hands. So he's behind the plate. And that should be the inning. Number 44 waiting, and Tom Browning and the Reds head toward the dugout as he knocks them off 1, 2, 3. After a half, Houston nothing. The Reds coming up. Reds getting ready to bat for the first time in 1991, and here's how Cincinnati's lineup will stack up today.
All right, the Toyota starting lineup for the defending National League champions. Leading off, playing left field, Billy Hatcher. The shortstop, Barry Larkin, will hit second. In right field, Paul O'Neill will hit third. The cleanup batter for the Reds today will be center fielder Eric Davis. Hitting behind Eric will be first baseman Hal Morris. Third baseman Chris Sabo will follow Morris. The catcher Jeff Reed will hit 7th. The second baseman Mariano Duncan will hit 8th. And the pitcher Tom Browning will hit 9th.
There's a big right-hander, Mike Scott, and that's the kind of numbers that he posted in 1990.
Yeah, that's the lowest wins for him, Marty, since 1984. The 9 wins and the 13 losses were probably as many as he's had for a while. He had one of those years. He did pitch 205 innings with a bad arm. He did have arm surgery this winter.
Well, there was all sorts of speculation during the spring about whether or not Mike Scott would make this opening day start for Houston. There was a strong feeling he would be traded. Interesting note on that. We'll give it to you in a moment. Here's Billy Hatcher. And plate umpire Frank Bellino ruling that Hatch offered at that pitch in a bunt attempt. He's down a strike. Scott has been an outstanding pitcher, and the thing that has made him up until the last year or so, when he suffered arm injuries, one of the dominant pitchers in Major League Baseball, that split-fingered fastball. He's had more success with that pitch when he's been healthy than any other pitcher in the game. That ball hit well. If it's fair, it's trouble. Foul ball. He had the distance.
That's one of the things, Marty, when he gets ahead of you, because you can certainly look forward to it, and I don't think anybody in the game throws it any better than his does. His ball just truly explodes on him.
You know the story. Roger Craig was a man who taught him how to throw that pitch one winter about 6 years ago. Mike took time off, went to visit the now San Francisco Giants manager. He taught Scott how to throw it. He had a natural propensity for holding the pitch and throwing it and getting the kind of movement that was necessary to be effective. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
You know, the interesting thing about this Houston ball club, Marty, last year they had a horrible season on the road. But for the 15th straight year in a row, they won at home, and which was a Major League record.
It really doesn't make any difference how good a club this is. Booted by McLemore and cannot make a play. So a good start for the former California Angel and Cleveland Indian, Mark McLemore. Routine ground ball, and he couldn't make the play.
I'm going to tell you what, Marty, that young man's come a long way. You figure he came to spring training with the Astros this year as a non-roster player, and here he is opening day for second baseman.
So now Barry Larkin, coming off of a 301 season in 1990 with 7 homers and 67 runs batted in. Keep an eye on Hatcher. Billy, over the course of the season last year, stole 30 bases. Scott easy to run on. Don't forget, every time Barry Larkin gets a hit this season, Cellular One and Crest will make a donation to the Caring Program for Children. And as always, Community Mutual will match each donation dollar for dollar. That means every time Barry gets a single, 2 more needy Ohio children will be eligible to receive routine health care benefits for the entire year. A double will meet the needs of 4 kids, a triple 6 kids, and a home run 8 kids. You can join the team too. To donate to the Caring Program, just call 1-800-548-KIDS. That's 1-800-548-KIDS. Hatcher at first. 1-0 the count on Larkin. Talking about the ease with which runners stole bases against Scott last year. 53 successes against Mike, the only pitcher in this league who allowed more stolen bases. 60, New York Mets right-hander Dwight Gooden.
Another thing here too, Marty, you know, the unfortunate thing is we're talking about Mr. Biggio, you know, playing all the different positions last year. The first time in the club's history that a catcher led them in hitting. But his shortcoming behind the plate is throwing. He only threw out 19% of the runners, and with his statistic and Mr. Scott's, they better hold somebody close.
No, that's not a very good combination for success against a club that can steal bases the way the Reds can, when you've got a pitcher who can't hold runners and a catcher who can't throw them out. There goes Hatcher. No time at all for Biggio. He did not get a good pitch to throw on. Hatcher had a good jump. And on top of that, Biggio had a double clutch.
Hey, we'll take another look at it. The ball's down. He's got to come up. Takes an extra too many steps.
Yep.
That's where he lost it right there. Extra step. Billy got a good start. You took that extra pump. There was no way.
So the Reds immediately threatened, trying to take advantage of second baseman McLemore's error. Hatcher now at second, and a count of 2 balls and 1 strike on Barry Larkin. Barry doing what any good hitter will try to do in this situation, as you saw him just simply throw his bat at the ball, and that's trying to go the other way. With less than 2 outs and a runner at second base, you have to get him to third.
If there was ever a team last year that epitomized team baseball right here, we saw this from the first series in Houston down there last year. It started right there, went on all summer.
It was amazing. Every time they needed to do something in a situation, they were more often than not able to do it. And Larkin was trying to get it done right there. Now a 2-2 count. Does it change his situation now, Gordy, now that he's got 2 strikes and trying to go the other way, or is his job still the same?
Well, basically, with 2 strikes, he's got to pretty much protect the plate at this point. But Barry has good enough bat control. He can fight a lot of pitches off he doesn't want to hit.
Still trying to take that pitch the other way as the count holds at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
I would imagine that Mr. Scott probably would not want to throw too many balls in the outside part of the plate, because he knows Barry can handle the bat well enough to take it to right field.
Tremendous bat control for this young man. Decent spring. The numbers: 2 homers, 10 RBIs, and of course he's healthy, and that's a big thing. I was a great concern yesterday when he fell at third base in Columbus that he'd re-injured his back, but he was okay. Double play. Not good base running by Billy Hatcher.
They got him leaning the wrong way. Unfortunately, Billy taking too many steps. Yes, sir, umpire made the right call. He was out.
Not good base running at all, because Billy, as you saw in the replay, watched the flight of that ball all the way into the glove of Mark McLemore. You can't get double off second base like that. Here's Paul O'Neill. They are hoping for more power, more run production in 1991 from this kid. 16 of them he hit last year, as you see, with that .270 batting average. Interesting that he opens the year batting in number 3 in the order. 1 ball, 1 strike.
They were talking with Paul down there, as you know, that they discussed it the entire winter. They want to see more home runs out of Paul. They've changed his approach a little bit more. They got him moving at the plate now so he can step into the ball instead of overstriding.
Scott ahead.
And I'm going to tell you what, when he gets ahead of you, friend, you're going to get that nasty.
But he can't strike hitters out like he used to be able to do. He averaged 10-plus strikeouts a year 5 years ago, and that average has been steadily decreasing season by season. O'Neill hangs in.
I remember a couple years ago when you go in the Dome down there and face him back-to-back with Nolan Ryan. That was a long series.
Hey, this guy standing on deck right now, Eric Davis, I can remember one series down there when he got them back-to-back, and Davis punched out 9 straight times against Nolan Ryan and Mike Scott, or Mike Scott and Nolan Ryan, whichever way they went. It was serious.
I'm sure that's a lasting impression with Eric, too.
And the interesting thing about their pitching then was that's the way it happened to fall in that particular series. But oftentimes you'd face Scott, then you'd face Bob Nepper, who didn't throw hard enough to break a pane of glass, and then the next day they'd come back with the Express. I mean, you had no chance. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Mr. Scott's name sure surfaced all winter with other ball clubs. Isn't it? With clubs that are looking for a veteran pitcher.
It did, Gordy, and as I mentioned, it's an interesting situation. Yesterday they could have traded him to anybody and he would not have had a say in it. That is, aside he had 12 clubs in his contract that he would agree to a trade to, but had they dealt him to any one of those 12 clubs, he would have had to go with no questions. Today, as the season opens, he automatically becomes a 10-5 man, and he can veto any trade he wants to. So it's a different ball game now for Mike Scott. 2 men out, nobody on, and no score in the bottom of the first. O'Neill. McLemore picks this one up cleanly, and the inning is over. No runs, no hits, 1 error. Nobody left, and at the end of 1, on opening day, the Reds and the Astros scoreless. Reds and the Astros 0-0 after 1 inning of baseball. Tom Browning confronted by rookie Luis Gonzalez, young man out of Jefferson High School in Tampa, Florida.
Tell you one thing, he's made a conversion. You figure a couple years ago he had a bad arm. He was at third base and he moved him to first. Now he's had to move to the outfield because of Bagwell.
And they sent him to the Mexican League this past winter to learn how to play the outfield. 2 balls and no strikes. He had 24 home runs at Columbus, Georgia last year while batting .265 with 89 RBIs. And Browning uncharacteristically falls behind 3-0, but I can recollect what Pete Rose used to say about Tom Browning, and that is he pitches backwards. That means you didn't have to worry most of the time if he fell behind 2-0 or 3-0.
I'll tell you one thing, the young man certainly didn't prove it in spring training because he hit the ball quite well down. But you know, it's a pretty good step from AA ball to big leagues.
Yes. 3-1. Of course, Houston can afford that luxury. They've committed themselves to this youth movement that's drawn, quite frankly, a lot of criticism in the city of Houston, Texas, about the way John McMullen, the owner, has dispatched a lot of big names. Here's a high pop that Larkin will take care of at shortstop, and Gonzalez is out number 1. I say that because the Astros are obviously up for sale. If you look at Art Howe, and there is a strong feeling down in Houston that Mr. McMullen has allowed people like Glenn Davis and Danny Darwin, Larry Anderson, Billy Doran to get away either through trade or free agency simply to lower the payroll and make it more attractive for someone to come in and buy the ball club. But of course it doesn't enhance this team's ability to be a consistent winner, or that would appear to be the supposition. Time will tell. Caminiti down a strike. Mariano Duncan, 2 out. Duncan getting the call today, and why not? After the spring he had, and as we mentioned, Lou feeling like Billy Doran is not yet 100%. Here's an interesting story, Gordy. Jeff Bagwell, he's been playing first base all of 10 days.
I tell you what, I played for 15 years and could not. So that man's got a challenge, I'll tell you that.
Young man can swing the bat.
They said they had to find a place for him because he does get the bat on the ball.
Absolutely. A third baseman by trade. He's not going to take Caminiti's job, and he certainly wasn't going to take Wade Boggs' job. The organization that he came from, the Red Sox, and that appeared for a while that he may be dispatched to Tucson, their AAA club, but he swung the bat so well in spring training. And the folks that they had playing first base weren't getting the job done, that they said, hey, why not try this kid at first? It's been 10 days, and here he is in the opening day lineup. He's not a power hitter, line drive hitter, all fields hitter, and based on his minor league numbers, he can flat hit.
Well, you know, they were counting on a couple youngsters in spring training to pick up some of that slack as far as home runs. When Davis left the ball club, a kid named Sims was at first base they thought was going to be an answer, maybe, and also Anthony, and neither one made the club.
And the other first base candidate, Jose Tolentino, he didn't cut it. So Sims and Tolentino were the two guys who proved to be the odd men out, and Bagwell has the job, and Browning's gone the distance on him, 3-2.
He sure hit the ball this spring.
Tom has retired 5 in a row. He walks Bagwell with 2 out.
A lot of folks in this town know this next hitter.
Carl Tuffy Rhodes out of Western Hills High School, and what a thrill it is for this kid, maybe in his young days when he was fantasizing and maybe dreaming. Boy, it would be a dream come true to one day open the season for the Cincinnati Reds at Riverfront Stadium. Well, he's opening a season, but he's not opening in a Reds uniform.
1986, they were, what, state champions over there, the Mustangs.
Batted .275 last year at Tucson.
Young man runs well.
Yeah, that's one thing that this Houston club is not going to be caught short in. They have some folks that can steal a base. It's just a question of being able to get them on base enough to make things happen. Although the fellow over at first right now, as you look at Jeff Bagwell leading against Hal Morris, he's not one of them.
1988 Osceola down in Florida. He stole 64 bases, so he sure can do it.
That'll play. For Cincinnati Reds fans, nothing beats the clean, crisp, cold taste of the king of beers, Budweiser. Nothing beats a Bud. No balls, 2 strikes. No score. We're in the top of the second. Opening day 1991 here in Cincinnati.
It doesn't look like that Art Howe is going to go with a left-right-hand hitting lineup, because you figure he's got all these left-hand hitters in that lineup today against Tommy Browning.
You're really committing yourself to a youth movement when you start to play kids little tested or untested as far as the big leagues are concerned and run them out there against guys like Browning, left-hander versus left-handed batter. You're going to find something out right now. But then it brings to mind the question, how strong will that commitment be if things start to go badly? 1-2 the count. Bagwell at first, 2 out. Sabo will end the inning with that play. No runs, no hits, 1 left. After 1 1/2 innings of baseball, Cincinnati and Houston, 0-0.
Reds baseball has always been a good entertainment value, but never more so than during Family Day at Riverfront. Our first Edie's Grand Am Ice Cream Family Day is coming up Sunday, April the 14th, when the Reds take on the Braves at 2:15. When the head of the household pays full price for 1 ticket, the rest of the family will pay only half price. It's a great deal, so remember, discount tickets are available when purchased in the game advance day only. That's Edie's Grand Ice Cream Family Day, Sunday, April the 14th at 2:15.
Eric Davis settling in to hit off Mike Scott. We're in round number 2 here at the ballpark. Played only 127 games last year. They're hoping that he can stay healthy. Diving stop, Yelding. Base hit.
That's a good way to get that season underway. And we have seen Eric run a lot more here lately. Here we go again. Fastball away. Eric pulls the ball in the hole. Yelding gets to the ball. He just doesn't get him time to throw it. That's all. And he wouldn't have gotten Eric anyway.
Excellent play, though, by Eric Yelding. He did an excellent job of keeping that ball on the infield. But Davis aboard, and here's left-handed batting Hal Morris. Talk about Eric running. Let's see if he elects to try and steal a base here against Mike Scott. We saw Billy Hatcher do it rather easily in the first inning.
We saw Eric run a couple of times this week.
Scott checking off. Eric not moving.
I'm going to tell you what, Morris fought off a pretty good challenge from that Jefferson spring training, didn't he?
He sure did.
Well, I'm going to tell you what, he's a good-looking young man.
Well, he's going to go down and play every day, and that's a big thing for a kid like that. I'll tell you, though, he had some kind of eye-opening spring. I think for a while he made him sit back and contemplate. We may have to keep this kid after all. They never said it publicly, but they certainly doubted at one point in the final week whether it would be prudent to send him down or keep him. I think they made the right move.
We saw several good-looking youngsters. You figure the kid Sanders that plays center field, the young man that Chris Jones, some good-looking spring players.
Now, they've got some position players. A ball to Morris. Sammy Perlazzo, the Reds' third base coach. That's who Hal Morris is scoping out. Eric over at first. Tony Perez, again the Reds' first base coach here in 1991. They get the force on Davis. You saw Eric hold up momentarily to avoid being hit by that big bouncing ball. So Morris grounds into a 4-6 force, and with one out, coming to the plate will be Chris Sabo.
Chris had a pretty good spring. Continued right where he left off last October. He really banged the ball around down there.
Well, you know, when people talk about what this team accomplished last year, when you get right down to it, they had only two players who I think you could say had career years. Mariano Duncan obviously was one. Sabo, in terms of his power with 25 home runs, was the other. And they are big numbers to try and equal or surpass for Chris in 1991, but I don't think he's overly concerned about that. Just an outstanding talent over at third base, and probably doesn't get his just due as far as defense is concerned, because this league is blessed with some pretty good defensive third basemen. Scott letting Morris know that he knows he's over there. A one-time New York Met like Scott, who languished in mediocrity, if you will, before coming up with that split-fingered fastball after becoming a Houston Astro. A ball is high and tight.
It's interesting with the Houston Ball Club. They came into existence the same year as the New York Mets. They have won 78 more games than the Mets in that time, and the Mets have won 3 titles. So
how do you figure it?
You can't.
2 balls and no strikes. Morris not going anywhere.
There's a lot of folks think the Mets will gain on them this year, though. But that's 78 games.
Yeah, they got a real good chance. Although that, again, that's a team that people are having a hard time trying to determine how successful they're going to be. They certainly got some big questions that have to be answered. Two balls and a strike on the Reds' third baseman. Scott, the mainstay of this pitching staff. Teams will have an off day tomorrow and then get back at it on Wednesday night. Left-hander Jim Deshaies will go for Houston against right-hander Jose Rijo. Thursday night, Norm Charlton against right-hander Pete Harnisch. He's another one of those Orioles that came over in the Glenn Davis trade. And Scott continues to pay a lot of attention to Hal Morris, who certainly is not considered to be a major base stealing threat.
One of the things you have to wonder about at first base, Marty, with Bagwell in Double-A ball, how many AstroTurf fields he played on, and now he's switched to other sides of the infield. That could be an interesting thing.
2 balls and 2 strikes. Other games underway in the American League today. Yankees leading Detroit in the 4th inning, 3-2. That's at Tiger Stadium. And in Toronto in the 3rd, Toronto won Boston 0. In the 2nd, the White Sox over the Orioles 3-1. Cleveland to Kansas City, and one night game to kick off play in the American League. The Texas Rangers at home to the Milwaukee Brewers. 2-2 pitch, runner going. Gonzalez, and they're 2 out as Morris hustles back into first. Well, it's good to see Mrs. Schott here today. I've been through an awful lot the last month or so, but was on the field as she maintained she would be for this opening game of the season to personally present the rings to her ball club and her manager and coaching staff. And of course also received the American Spirit Award from the U.S. Air Force. Understand that's the highest award that the U.S. Air Force can award to a civilian. And Mrs. Schott received that in pregame ceremonies this afternoon. Here's Jeff Reed with 2 out. Headed towards Steve Finley. And the Reds are gone in the second. The numbers, no runs, a hit with 1 man left. We have completed 2, and there's no score at Riverfront Stadium.
The first Super X Senior Citizen Special is Wednesday, April 10th, when the Reds take on the Astros at Riverfront. Veteran Red fans 65 and older may purchase box or reserve seat tickets at half price in advance of game day. So be on hand for the first Senior Citizen Special, April 10th against the Astros at 7:35. Thanks to Super X drugstores.
No score. We're in the top half of the third. This first of 162, and you're looking at Mark McLemore. Boy, this kid played all over the place in 1990. Browning will take care of him on 1 pitch. And 1 pitch, 1 out, and very quickly it'll bring to the plate pitcher Mike Scott. McLemore's a kid that played at California last year. He also appeared with Edmonton, the AAA farm club of the Angels, Palm Springs, which was a farm club, lower classification, then Colorado Springs, the Indians AAA farm club, and also appeared in 8 games with Cleveland, so he moved around.
He missed 90 games because of a strained ligament in his right wrist.
Yep, and still managed to play for 5 different ball clubs. Browning has yet to give up a hit. They had a base runner, Bagwell, with a walk in the second. Pitcher against pitcher in the third, and it's 1 ball, 1 strike.
I'm going to tell you one thing. When it's a pleasure to watch Tom Browning pitch, he does not stand out there and take up any time.
My all-time favorite, I'll tell you that. Pretty good rip by Scott, but it'll be nothing but a routine fly ball that settles into Billy Hatcher's glove. It has never ceased to amaze me why more pitchers don't work like he does. I guess they have their reasons.
And I hear pitchers say they stand out there and think themselves into problems by taking too much extra time.
No question.
Right, and Tom doesn't do that. He just sits there and fires.
Taco Bell now with 3 great menus for just 59, 79, or 99 cents. Run for the border. So back for the second time as the shortstop Yelding. He bounced out short to first to get this one underway. Tom trying to knock him off in order for the second time in 3 innings. Strike.
You know, seeing this young man run, Marty, I was wondering, I guess, you know, that Gerald Young didn't make this ball club again.
No, they've not been happy with Gerald Young. He has really regressed. At one time, he was considered to be an outstanding prospect, and now he's got to prove himself all over again. That's the inning. 3 men up, 3 men down. The beat rolls on for Tom Browning at Riverfront. 0-0. That's what it's all about right there, the Cincinnati Reds television network, and we are awfully happy that you're with us this afternoon. Right now the weather is a-okay, and maybe this will be the inning in which the Reds will score a breakthrough against right-hander Mike Scott. We pause 5 seconds for station identification on the Cincinnati Reds television network.
Your #1 sports station in Cincinnati, WLWT.
Tom Browning will start off the third in this no-score affair. I'll make that Mariano Duncan will lead it off, with Browning due up second, and then lead-off batter Billy Hatcher.
Pretty good speed factor for your number 8 hitter, wouldn't you say?
Yes, sir. Boy, what a spring he had.
You know, there's so many times in setting up a lineup, catchers normally hit eighth in a lot of lineups, and a lot of times pitchers have trouble bunting them over in sacrifice situation because catchers don't run that well.
Right.
You don't have that problem on this.
No, sir. This kid just had an amazing year in 1990. 306 batting average, 55 RBIs, 10 homers. And in the spring, and we talked about it on our telecast out of Florida last week, batted almost 400 for the spring. The thing that made it even more impressive was the fact that he had right-handers just as well as he had left-handers, and that was a major problem for him last season.
When you look at the number that he did on left-handed pitchers last year, what was it, 417?
Yes.
That's unbelievable.
Chased a bad ball there. Scott ahead, and Mike Scott has not struck out a batter as yet.
That's one pitch that you'll see more hitters swing at. They'll swing at a high fastball more than they will a low because you get a good look at it.
Absolutely. No problem for Steve Finley as the sunshine comes out to beat down on the turf here at Riverfront.
I wonder if those outfielders have those glasses on, because sometimes it costs you a real bad defensive situation till you learn it. There we go. Finley's got him.
Yeah, he's got him. I'll tell you one thing, you don't have them today, you're going to have some problems. The way the sun is coming in and out, probably be that way all afternoon, and right now it is bright. Browning. Played by Biggio. Still got it on to first base in time to Bagwell.
He threw that runner right over Tom's shoulder. I'll tell you, that he was a lucky man not to have that ball hit him. He picks the ball up. Fumbles it around a little bit. He threw it right over Tom's shoulder. It's a wonder he didn't hit him.
You know, I guess catchers, after a while, you play that position long enough, you view that throw as routine. But boy, it appears to be an awfully tough throw, and I guess it's no day at the beach for a first baseman to make the catch on that throw.
Now, I don't have to make excuses because I had trouble with all guys. But that is a tough play trying to find the ball at the same time, yes.
Billy Hatcher, 2 out with nobody on, reached on an error by second baseman Mark McLemore in the first inning.
I wonder if Scott is on a pitch limit, Marty.
Gordy, he may well be, because the most he pitched in any game in the spring was 5 innings. And I would have to think that he probably either will be on a pitch limit or innings. More likely pitches. Had the shoulder surgery, and so they're going to kind of, I think, ease Mike Scott back into it. The feeling is that he probably will be all the way back by the end of this month or the 1st of April, 1st of May. Ball 2.
And I'm going to tell you what, coming off his surgery, he's throwing the ball pretty well
today. Yes,
he
is. He's allowed the Reds 1 hit. That was the infield single, leading off the second by Davis. Hatcher, the only other base runner, through 2 2/3. Let's see if Biggio has a play on the run. And he made it. Nice play.
Good
and
hustle.
The Reds go out in order. Stay with us. Steve Lamar will be joining Gordy over here on TV at the end of 3 at Riverfront. No score.
Alrighty, as we go into the top half of the 4th inning, let's welcome Steve Lamar.
Thank you, Gordy Coleman, and hello again, everybody. Tom Browning pitching to the Astros center fielder, Steve Finley. No score in this one. We're in the 4th inning. Nothing in 2 to the left-handed hitter. Finley, one of the youngsters picked up by the Astros when they traded Glenn Davis to the Baltimore Orioles over the winter. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
After seeing the rhythm these two pitchers have today, you'd think it's mid-July.
And both of them really in a groove. Here's the pitch, and it's fouled away. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Steve Finley leading off. Then we'll see Craig Biggio and the rookie Luis Gonzalez.
As Marty and I were discussing earlier, they were getting a true test here today with these left-handed hitters in the lineup against a pretty tough left-hander.
Yes, sir. Strike 3 call. Browning caught him looking. And there's 1 out in the 4th inning.
But, yeah, well, I'm going to tell you what, when Browning's got his surgery, here we look at it again. That's a pretty good piece of surgery right there, boy. He hit low and away on the black. You couldn't hit that with a ping pong paddle. Yes, sir. He was right on the money.
Now here's Biggio, the Astros catcher. Craig hit .276 last year. And he had a funny year. He only hit .229 against left-handed pitchers last year and over .300 against right-handed.
That is a strange thing.
Pop foul. This is out of play off first base.
I wouldn't feel sure that he will be more comfortable playing in one position, because you figure last year he played 50 ball games in the outfield before he settled in behind the plate.
Say, we'd like to welcome Nationwide Insurance and its agents to our team for 1991. Remember, for all your insurance needs, Nationwide is on your side. 1 ball, 1 strike. The count to Craig Biggio. 2-1 actually. Biggio, the catcher, batting in the number 3 spot today for manager Art Howe and the Astros. Started to go, laid off, and it missed. 3-1. Browning has walked 1 and he has struck out 1 today. And walked to Bagwell back in the 2nd inning. Represents the only Houston base runner.
This young man was an All-American performer at Seton Hall University.
3-2 now the count. Well, we had an opportunity to talk to several of the Astros people after the club arrived in town last night. They say Craig Biggio, as you look at Ed Ott, the first base coach, Ed Ott did a lot of work with Craig Biggio in spring training, and they say Biggio is throwing a lot better now from behind the plate. He threw out only about 22-23% of the enemy base stealers last year. Swung on, pop foul, coming back and back into the crowd. And a big crowd it is. Standing room only here at Riverfront today.
This is always a marvelous day in this town, Stephen. This has always been a big attraction.
This is really special. No score, 4th inning. Here's the 3-2 pitch. It is hit high in the air down the left field line. Hatcher moving over right at the line, and the ball's out of play. So Biggio will come back, and it'll be 3-2 again. Well, the Astros had a terrible time last year trying to generate any kind of an offense. Averaged only 3.5 runs per game. Left field. Hatcher going back. Still back. He will watch it go, and the Astros lead 1-0. A solo home run by Craig Biggio.
He hit that ball pretty pert.
Not much of a home run hitter. He hit only 4 homers last year, but he gets to Browning today, and it's 1-0 Houston.
Here it is on the replay. Yes, sir, right down Broadway. And he did what you're supposed to do with a mistake.
He lost that baseball. 1-0 Houston in the 4th inning. That was the first Astros base hit today. And here's the rookie Gonzalez.
Well, as they say, Steve, this young man has hit at every level he's ever played. So I guess they're going to try from AA to here. But he sure had some good looking minor league stats.
He sure did. And he had a terrific spring training. Strike is called. Gonzalez really is a first baseman. Well, the Astros are trying him as the left fielder. And Jeff Bagwell has been installed as the Houston first baseman. What a job trying to replace Glenn Davis. Fooled is Gonzalez. 1-2. Tom Browning and the Reds trail 1-0. We're in the 4th inning. Strike 3 call. Another call, 3rd strike. 2nd strikeout for Browning.
That young man is complaining on that pitch he complained the last time up. Let's see this again. Here it is. We'll let you be at home with Judge. He must have thought the ball was a little low, but you got to remember it's not where the catcher catches, it's where it comes over the plate. It looked like he crossed the plate a strike.
2 gone. Here's Caminiti. And a line drive into right field, a base hit. So Caminiti has the 2nd Houston hit of the inning and the afternoon. He's always been a much better hitter from the right side. He's a switch hitter. And his average lifetime as a right-handed hitter is nearly 50 points higher than left-handed.
I think they're waiting for the real Ken Caminetti to stand up to. When you look at the 2 years they had, what contrast they were.
Caminetti hitting only .242 a year ago. Here is Jeff Bagwell. And Browning drives Caminetti back. 2 out, a man on. Bagwell with a look down to Phil Garner, who's now serving as the third base coach for the Astros this year. Matt Galati, who had held that spot, is now in the dugout with Art Howe. There's a ground ball past Garner.
They get the catcher odd at first base too. They've changed their whole base coaching around.
And there's Phil Garner looking into the dugout to get the sign from Art Howe, and now relaying it to Bagwell, the hitter, and Caminetti, the runner at first base.
Boy, he was a tough cookie on that field, wasn't he? That Garner? Well, he was a hard-nosed player.
He really was. He was a gamer, as they say.
Yes, sir.
Caminetti has a fairly good lead at first base. 1 strike to count. The pitch. Ground ball toward third. Sabo has it to Duncan for the force, and the inning is over. 1 run, 2 hits. The home run by Craig Biggio. We're in the middle of the 4th inning. Astros 1, Reds nothing. Steve Lamar with Gordy Coleman and Marty Brenneman on opening day in Cincinnati, where a Craig Biggio home run has the Astros in front 1-0, and it has turned into a pretty nice day.
Yes, sir. After considering what was happening here about 12:30, 1 o'clock, it has turned into a beautiful day.
Yeah, it rained pretty hard. We had a steady rain for about 20 minutes or a half an hour, and then things have brightened up. We're in the bottom of the 4th. Barry Larkin is leading off. Mike Scott, the 35-year-old right-hander, missing with the first one. Mike Scott has been a Reds beater in his career. 15-6 lifetime against them, and 14-3 since going to Houston. There's the drive to left. It is deep, and it is gone.
We got a tie ball game.
Barry Larkin homers. It's 1-1. And that Barry Larkin home run means health care for 8 youngsters. Thanks to the home run by Barry Larkin, a caring program for children.
There it is from the pitch. Ooh, yeah, same place. That's exactly what we talked about last time. What'd you do with a mistake? There was another one right down the heart of the plate.
Yep. Here's Paul O'Neill. 1-0 to it. So 2 men who did not make their living hitting home runs have hit them today on opening day. Biggio and Larkin. 1-1, 4th inning.
Here's a fellow that Lou would like to see hit more of those.
Yeah, Paul O'Neill hit 16 last year to tie his career high. Lou thinks he can hit up into the 30s. By the way, with Barry Larkin's home run, health care for 8 children is provided through the caring program for children. And Barry, that ball hit to left field. Gonzalez started in. He's pulled. The ball's over his head to the wall. O'Neill heading for second. He'll hold.
Well, there's a situation. The infielder trying to learn to play the outfield. He just misplayed the ball. He came in and the ball was hooking back over his head. Here it is again. You can see him. He comes in originally and then he decides, uh-oh, too late. And I'm sure the Reds will take it.
By the way, you can join the team, donate to the caring program for children. All you have to do is call 1-800-548-KIDS. Davis taking a strike from Mike Scott.
I'm sure with all these youngsters on this ball club this year, Art Howe is going to see an awful lot of that as far as, you know, growing up, getting the experience of being up here.
Luis Gonzalez misplaying the fly ball hit by O'Neill into a double. Ball at second, the pitch. And Scott misses to go to a ball and a strike on Eric. swing by Mr. Davis. A ball and 2 strikes.
You get that ball up and in, that's a tough ball to handle right there.
Open Eric's eyes, and he went after it. O'Neill, the runner at second base. Nobody out. We're in the bottom of the 4th, a 1-1 ball game. Eric Davis down on strikes. That is the first one today for Mike Scott.
Threw that ball pretty good. Here's that last pitch again. He gets this ball up there pretty quick. Good spot.
Yeah, the Astros people say for the most part Scott now throws 87, 88 miles an hour. Once in a while he'll top out at 90 or 91. But he had some pop on that one. Hal Morris, the batter, 1 on, 1 out.
I'm sure he is competitive enough because that's been the basic image of his career. He's a real go-getter. He's a bulldog, and I'm sure now that he's lost a couple miles off that heater that he will be more inclined to throw balls to spots.
Ball 1 to Morris. Reds have won 8 opening games in a row going back to 1983 and 15 of their last 17. It's opening day in Cincinnati, a 1-1 tie with Houston. Bottom of the 4th. 2-0 now to Hal Morris.
They get a pretty good scouting report on Mr. Morris. You can see where that left fielder's playing, and normally for a right-handed hitter he would be a lot further around towards center field, but he's playing in just about where Morris hits a lot of baseballs.
He really does. Hal Morris goes the other way a lot. O'Neill at second, 1 out, 2-0 the count. McLemore throws out Hal Morris as Paul O'Neill advances to third. And right now let's take a look at the JTM American League scoreboard. And in that game, Jack Clark has hit a grand slam home run for Boston, his 8th career grand slam.
Welcome to Boston.
Yes, sir.
And that won't be the last one he'll hit that ballpark.
Chris Sabo hitting with 2 out, trying to put the Reds ahead in the 4th inning. Fly ball that is foul down the left field line and into the crowd. By the way, we'll take another look at the scoreboard in the 8th inning.
You know, they were talking when they built that ballpark up there that, you know, they just thought it was really going to take away from some of Toronto's power. But boy, was a lot of home runs hit up there last year.
Yeah, the Sky Dome in Toronto is really a hitter's ballpark. Missing to Sabo is Mike Scott. A ball and a strike. Paul O'Neill carries the lead run. He's at third with 2 men out. Down the left field line, fair ball.
Hit right on the chalk.
O'Neill will score. Sabo to second. He'll have an RBI double, 2-1 Reds.
He couldn't have thrown that ball down the line any better. It was right on the chalk. He really hits a lot of baseballs over that bag. Here, we'll take another look at her. Here's the pitch. Fastball. Low. He really got the head of the bat out in front. Right across the bag, right on the chalk.
So that ball misplayed in left field by the rookie left fielder Luis Gonzalez has cost the Astros a run. Sabo makes them pay for it with his RBI double to drive in Paul O'Neill. 2-1 Cincinnati. Jeff Reed, who's 0 for 1 today, is batting against Mike Scott.
Here's a situation when you have 2 outs. You got a left-hand hitter up there. First base is open. Let's see if they're going to pitch to him or face Mr. Duncan. It looks like they're going to walk him.
They're going to put him on. This is the first walk of the day by Mike Scott.
It's strictly a percentage move to the right-hander against the left-hander because Mariano Duncan has really been hitting the ball, and they're, you know, taking a pretty good chance right here.
Mariano Duncan had a marvelous spring training. And he'll be batting with 2 men on. The skipper of the Houston Astros in the Houston dugout.
Sort of interesting, Steve, defensively at third base with 2 outs. Now they're making it go back. Caminiti was right up even with the bag with 2 outs. I don't think they wanted him there.
Last year, Mariano Duncan had some success against Mike Scott. He went 2 for 7 off him and hit a home run off Scott. 2 on, 2 out. Here's the pitch. 1-0 to Duncan.
Well, Marty and I discussed earlier, he's in the bottom of the 4th here. His most innings in spring training was 5, so he's thrown, a number of pitches.
That's right. Scott pitched 5 innings last Wednesday against the Kansas City Royals. And that was his longest outing of the spring. Now it's 2-0 to Duncan.
And this is a situation the hitters found themselves in an awful lot last year because Mike Scott pitched from behind so often last year.
Mike Scott suffered through his first losing season in 6 years last year. Won only 9 games. Third base side foul. That's Ken Caminiti to glove it.
Seeing him throw that ball back to Mike Scott, there's no question about that young man's arm at third base. He's really got a gun.
He does indeed. Jeff Reed's the runner at first base. The lead runner is Chris Sabo. Sabo is his second. 2 men are out. 2 runs have scored. The Reds have the lead 2-1. Two and 1 the count.
He got him.
Duncan is drilled by Scott. Now the bases are loaded. Tom Browning will be the batter.
Here we go. I'm sure this ball's got to come back in. I'm certainly sure this is one of those balls you just got away. See it tailing back in. Yeah, because he certainly didn't want to hit him in that situation. That was one of those tailing fastballs that just kept running.
Well, we'll see what Tom Browning can do about helping himself right here.
Tom likes to talk about his hit.
Bases loaded. 2 men out. Ball what? Chris Sabo, Jeff Reed, and Mariano Duncan on the runners, third to first. They're loaded up. 2 men out. Browning batting. He and the Reds lead Houston 2-1. Line drive, right field, and that gets by Rhodes. Goes to the wall. Sabo scores. Reed scores. Duncan scores. A 3-run double by Tom Browning.
The man said he could hit. He got a fastball up in his eyes, and now Tommy hawked it. He just jumped all over. Ooh, what a big hit, and that misplayed ball in left field really looks big now.
Tom Browning really gave himself a helping hand. A bases loaded, bases clearing double. And they're on their feet for him at Riverfront.
Here it is, boy, way up. Tommy just got it with that top hand and really went to work.
Billy Hatcher is the batter. Down on the dirt, scooped up by Biggio.
A little action in the Astro bullpen.
You're right, Gordy. That ball misplayed by Gonzalez out in left field is a very key play in this inning.
Because he's out of the inning, he catches the ball.
Big Jim Clancy is working in the bullpen now for Houston as the Astros pitching coach Bob Cluck goes out to talk with Mike Scott and to burn a little time to let Clancy get ready.
Pitch he hit Duncan with got away from him, and I'm certainly sure there the pitch he threw to Browning now, that certainly wasn't you consider it a strike, but when it's hit by them country boys, you can't pitch him high. He jumped all over that little dolly.
The Reds have scored 5 times here in the 4th inning. They lead 5-1. There's been 3 doubles, a home run, an intentional walk, and a hit batsman here.
Mr. Browning got a standing O.
Billy Hatcher, the batter. Up and into him, and it is 2-0. The Reds haven't defeated Mike Scott since September of 1988. They have a 5-1 lead over him and Houston today. Here's the strike, 2-1. All the scoring by both clubs here in the 4th inning. 5-1 Cincinnati. McLemore moving to his left to gobble it up and throws out Hatcher to retire the side. The Reds bat around. They score 5 times, and at the end of 4, they lead it 5-1. Mike Scott and the Houston Astros now trail the Reds 5-1 as we head to inning number 5. Yeah. Bill Doran has taken over for Mariano Duncan, who was hit by that pitch by Scott in the 4th inning. Doran at second base. And the Cincinnati product, Carl Rhodes, is leading off for the Astros. Two and nothing to Rhodes.
You figure Browning was off the pitching mound for a few minutes at long innings, so it'll take him maybe some time to find his rhythm again.
Strike is called, 2-1. The Houston Astros today are starting their 30th season in the National League. Browning working too much in a hurry for Mr. Rhodes, and he's granted time at home plate. Astros, of course, came into the league as an expansion club with the New York Mets back in 1962. Billy Doran will get a chance, backhands it, and throws out Rhodes. 1 down in the 5th inning.
Seems like as soon as you come in a ball game, they find you.
Isn't that the truth?
That ball will find you.
Say a big welcome to new Reds sponsor, Bank One Cincinnati. Remember, Reds fans, Bank One Cincinnati, the bank that will do whatever it takes within reason. Switch hitting Mark McLemore, the second baseman, takes the strike from Browning. Eric Davis on the move, makes the catch, 2 men out. The Astros have Dave Rhodey in the on-deck circle, and he will come up to bat for Mike Scott. So Scott is gone after pitching 4 innings and giving up 5 runs and 5 hits. All 5 runs, and 4 of the hits came in the 4th inning. And it all started with a solo home run by Barry Larkin.
This young man broke in with the Astros last year. He had 58 ball games, but he failed to show them a whole lot of bat. He only ended up hitting 158, so he had a tough start.
Yeah, Rhodey had a couple of terrible slumps. One was 0 for 17. Another one was 0 for 24. I think he finished the season last year 0 for 24. Strike call to Rhodey, the pinch hitter.
Then it's easy to see to where that average came from.
Yeah.
Gee. Looks like we're going to see Mr. Clancy.
Strike 2 is called. 0-2 to Dave Rhodey. We're in the top of the 5th. 5-1 Reds. And a swinging strike 3 to retire the side. So Browning comes back, retires the side. 1-2-3 after 4.5. 5-1 Cincinnati.
The Reds meet the Braves on Video Town Calendar Day, Sunday, April 14th at 2:15. The first 25,000 fans in attendance 18 and over will receive a 1991 Reds calendar. with player photos, home and away schedules, and a pop-out poster celebrating the 1990 World Championship season. It's a real collectible. Compliments of Videotown, the place that gives you movies, music, and more. That's the Reds and the Braves and a free 1991 Reds calendar on Videotown Calendar Day, Sunday, April the 14th at 2:15.
Well, Barry Larkin, who got that 5-run inning, started in the 4th with a home run, is batting against Jim Clancy. The 35-year-old right-hander is on for Houston. And there's a base hit through the right side for Larkin. But Barry on opening day is 2 for 3.
I'm going to tell you a day that Mr. Clancy will remember this ballpark from last summer. Remember that 14-run inning? He was involved in part of that.
And that single means that 2 more needy Ohio children will be eligible to receive routine health care benefits for the entire year, thanks to the Caring Program for Children and Barry Larkin.
This 5-1 lead, the Reds can be a lot more daring here with taking bases, so we'll be anxious to see if they start running a little more.
Larkin drawing a throw from Clancy. The rookie Jeff Bagwell holding on the bag at first base. 5-1 Reds. We're in the bottom of the 5th. Larkin bluffs, does not go. The pitch foul straight back.
Ooh, Paul just missed that one. I'm going to tell you what, he really turned on that ball. It was a fastball on the inside part of the plate, and he just missed it.
And Mr. O'Neill not very happy with himself at the moment. That double was really a key play in that 5-run 4th inning. A ball misplayed by rookie outfielder Luis Gonzalez out in left field. Back is Larkin. Clancy all set. And there's another foul ball out of play. Jim Clancy has 137 major league victories to his credit. However, only 2 of those victories came last year for the Houston Astros. He was 2-8. Started his career way back in 1977 with the Toronto Blue Jays. Strike 3 called, and O'Neill is gone. 1 out in the 5th inning.
I think Paul was looking for something on the inside part of the plate. He didn't get it, and here we go. We'll take a look ourselves. Let the folks at home make the decision too. I believe Paul might have been wrong with that one. Looked like a strike.
Now Clancy will pitch to Mr. Eric Davis. Foul back our way and out of play. 1 strike. The Reds have out-hit the Astros 7-2 today. There have been home runs in this game by Craig Biggio of Houston and Barry Larkin of Cincinnati.
You figure that Jim Clancy, Steve, is one of the few veterans on this ball club that's left.
Boy, there are a lot of kids on this Houston club, some of whom have never played above the AA level.
And down the road, it'd certainly be a wonderful experience, because that's the only way you can get it, is to be baptized under fire. But they will pay some kind of a price doing it, I think.
I'm telling you, it's getting a little dark here right now. Clouds moving in. Outside to Davis, 1-1.
Well, it's been that kind of day since the sun came up this morning. A little rain, a little sun, and then it goes away. It's just intermittent all day.
Davis has had a long look down to Sam Perlazzo, the 3rd base coach. Larkin leads at first, 1 out. Right center field. Carl Rhodes will play it on a hop. Larkin heading for 3rd. There goes Davis to 2nd. The tag. He's out.
Oh, there goes Lou.
Davis cannot believe the call made by Randy Bruns, the amateur umpire working here today.
I think Eric thought he slid around the tag. Tony's going down to get Eric, yeah, because they certainly don't want to get him run. Here we go. We'll take another look at her. Nice high jump by Mr. Rhodes. Fires the ball in. Good throw. Here's this from the right field side. It's a little tough to tell on that one. Here we go. Watch this angle. It's tough to tell.
Yes, it is.
We take the umpire's word for it at this point.
Hal Morris will try to drive in Larkin from third. And there's a drive and a base hit. He did it. Larkin scores. Morris an RBI, and it's 6-1 Cincinnati.
There's a 2-out base hit. That's the toughest hit in baseball, and that's one of the things the Reds did so well last year. They got that clutch hit, and there it is right here, 2 outs. That's what you call picking up your teammate.
That ball really wasn't tattooed, but Morris had enough on it to drop it along the right field line. And the rain has started again at Riverfront.
There's a sea of umbrellas.
Six-1 Reds. We're in the 5th inning. This, of course, is an official ball game. It is a regulation game. Home team in front. After 4.5 innings, we're in the bottom of the 5th. 6-1 Reds. They've out-hit the Astros 8-2. Oh, Sabo is all set. And a foul straight back. 2 balls and a strike. Sabo had a big hit in that 5-run 4th inning. A line shot double over the bag at third base and down the left field line to drive in a run. Big year last year for Chris. He waits 2-1. Morris is back. Day off tomorrow for these clubs, and then a night game on Wednesday. Jose Rio against Jim DeShays. Ball 3.
Jim DeShays is an old college teammate of Mr. Browning.
Yes, he is. Jim Clancy checking for that sign from Biggio, and now he has it. Shortstop. Yelding has it. His throw will get Sabo, and the inning is over. The Reds add another run. Marty Brenneman will be along at the end of 5. 6-1 Cincinnati.
Well, as we go into the top half of the 6th inning, we want to welcome back Marty Brenneman, but the rains are also back.
Well, I guess we were living on borrowed time, Gordy. We had such a beautiful day for, I guess, about an hour, a little bit better than an hour, and all of a sudden, after the Reds struck for 5 runs in the 4th inning, the bad stuff overhead replaced the good stuff, and now it is raining, as you can see, extremely hard. The tuxedo-clad grounds crew out to get things covered up, and it's going to be sit back and wait a while. The only good thing about the rain coming now is the fact that this is an official ball game.
Yes, it sure is. And I'm going to tell you one thing, the complexion changed real quick in that 4th inning, didn't it?
You're not kidding. I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome our new Reds Television Network affiliates for the 1991 baseball season. WHIO Channel 7 in Dayton, Ohio, WMCC in Indianapolis, and welcome back to all our 1990 affiliates. Certainly glad to have you with us this year. Reds have a 6-1 lead. 5 big ones in the 4th inning, and how about Tom Browning?
I'll tell you one thing we mentioned early in the ball game, that he looked like he was in mid-season form. He's got pretty good rhythm.
And I'll tell you one thing, Mike Scott found out again, you can't throw that high fastball by a pitcher now. If you try to throw that high heat by him, he'll take care of it.
Yeah, you know, Tom loves to swing that bat. He's always talking about his hitting prowess anyway, but you get that ball in his eyes and he'll crank on you.
He sure helped himself today, and all told, the Reds have collected 8 hits. If you take a look at Tom and reliever Timmy Leana in the Cincinnati dugout, Browning's going to sit back now and relax and wait and see whether or not we play any more baseball today. But he can rest secure in the knowledge that if they don't, he's got himself an abbreviated victory, and a victory that he not only excelled in on the mound, but he excelled in also at the plate with that bat of his. And let's take one more look at it.
Look where the location that pitch is. Yes, sir. It was interesting to watch the outfield defensively on that particular play, that they really bunch him in the middle of the field, because normally you don't expect the pitcher to pull the ball.
No.
And he got out in front of that pretty good.
That's been certainly the highlight of this afternoon. The 3-run double by Tom Browning. Of course, earlier in that inning, a home run by Barry Larkin tied it, and a 2-base hit by Chris Sabo sent the Reds out in front. And then the icing on the cake was Browning's big blow to right field that drove in 3 runs. You know, we were talking earlier, Gordy, about Mike Scott, and appeared to throw the ball extremely well in the first 3 innings. Again, alluding to the question that you posed about whether or not he might be on a pitch count. He really seemed to lose a whole lot after the 3rd inning.
Yeah, Marty, and I guess that's one of the toughest things when you talk about surgery all the time. You talk about, you know, getting arm strength back, and I'm certainly sure there for a couple of 3 innings, you know, pretty much it was there. Then he got into that number of pitches game, and after a while, you know, you're still, like you say, throwing 89, 87, whatever he was throwing. You got to back off a little bit, and I'm sure some of those pitches were 85, which is very hittable at this level.
You stations along our television network line, we want to alert you to the possibility that sometime in the not too distant future, in fact in a couple of minutes, if this rain continues to fall, we're going to be breaking away for 30 minutes of local programming, after which of course we'll be back to update you on what's transpiring here at Riverfront. But right now it doesn't appear there's any immediate break in these rain heavy clouds overhead as it continues to fall extremely hard here at Riverfront. And the folks, as you look around this wide expansive stadium, they really came prepared. Umbrellas all over the place. 6-1 the score. The Reds trying to make game 1 of 1991 a successful venture. And you know, Lou talked earlier this afternoon about the importance of getting off to a good start. Every team wants to. You can't expect to go 9-0 like that team did out of the gate last year. At the same time, it's probably more important for this team to get off to a good start than it might otherwise be, simply, as Lou said, to serve notice to all the rest of the clubs around the league that, hey, we're not going to rest on our laurels and what we accomplished last year.
I think it's one thing that's very important when you look at the Reds schedule, Marty, for the next couple of weeks. Now, we are certainly not going to predict who's going to do what as far as winning and losing is concerned, but when you look at the schedule with the number of ball games they get with Houston and Atlanta, this is the type of thing that you're expected to go out and pound these folks.
Well, as the rain continues to fall, although ever so lightly at the moment, not falling nearly as hard as it was, we're going to be sending it back to our stations along the Reds television network line. 30 minutes, after which we will be back to update you on what's going on here at the stadium. So stay by your TV set. The Reds leading at 6-1 on the Cincinnati Reds television network. In the 4th, when the Reds battled around scoring 5 times, Jim Clancy came on to succeed him, and he promptly gave up a run in the 5th. So right now, everything is roses as far as the Reds are concerned.
Yeah, it looks like Tom's going to go back out there and take his turn, so we'll see.
Reds, of course, in Houston battling in the first of a 3-game series. Browning all set to go back to work now as we start to get sunshine again filtering through the bad stuff overhead. But as we mentioned prior to going away for a while due to the rain delay, the good thing is that no matter what happens from here on out, we've got ourselves an official ball game. And Tom Browning in the final throes of getting loose again before going back to work against the Houston offense here in the top half of the 6th inning. The 3rd opening day start for Browning. And we give you an injury update relative to Mariano Duncan giving way to Bill Doran prior to our rain delay. Duncan left the game due to a strained left hamstring that he injured while running the bases in that 5-run 4th inning. So the much talked about competition between Mariano Duncan and Billy Doran. Duncan getting the call in the opening game of the season today, only to have to leave, and it might mean that Doran is going to go back to second base on a somewhat regular basis, maybe sooner than Lou wanted to.
Yeah, I'm sure that's true, Marty, because when you talk about hamstrings, you know, depending on how, you know, they talked about it was minor, and we certainly hope that's correct, because those things can plague you for a while.
Okay, we're set to resume play. Eric Yelding steps to the plate. And Browning goes to work. What do they say, a 34-minute rain delay?
Something of that nature, I think.
Pitch is high, 2 balls and no strikes.
And basically that's the way it's been all day. It's like it's rained for 30 minutes and then stopped.
Yelding without a hit in 2 trips against Browning. He's bounced out to shortstop, and he's also popped up to first base 0 for 2. And there's ball 3. So for the second time today, Browning has gone a 3-ball count on a hitter. He went 3-0 on Bagwell, ended up walking him back in the second inning, and that's the only base on balls Browning has given up.
Tom was out there walking behind the mound on whether he discussed it with himself or he wanted that last pitch.
There's a, you know, Gordy, we talked about how quickly Browning works and how effective it is for him. But there are times when maybe Tom even works too fast for his own good.
Yes,
when he falls in a rut, he's giving up a lot of hits or whatever the case might be, as Ted Power now starts to loosen in the Reds bullpen. And those are the times when he has to walk off the mound and get himself regrouped.
That's the truth. He's done that so many times.
That'll be taken care of by Sabo, and the throw. And Yelding is gone.
That's what the Reds want to see. Start to get that leading lady out of their first inning.
We're in the top of the 6th inning. Browning has allowed only 2 hits, one of them a home run by Craig Biggio, who will bat in a moment. But right now Browning will contend with the center fielder, left-handed batting Steve Finley.
He's created all kind of problems for this young man today.
No balls, 1 strike. And Browning evens the count at 1 ball, 1 strike. Tom, for the record, has struck out 3 batters. He's walked only 1. And that's out of play, and Browning has a count advantage.
And notice Morris was even with the bag until he got 2 strikes on him, so this young man must run some too.
Power heating up down in the bullpen. Apparently he's going to be joined down there by the newcomer Don Carmen. Davis, no problem. Nice to see him back in center field. Suffered that injury, of course, last year and spent more time in left field than he did in center field, with Hatcher doing such a great job out in center. But Eric back in center field, and he has no peer in this game in terms of being able to cover ground.
And he has said so many times how much more comfortable he feels in center field.
Sabo out. Excellent play by the Reds third baseman to Rob Biggio and end the inning. 3 up, 3 down. After 5.5, the Reds lead by 5. Jim Clancy back to the mound for what will be his 2nd inning of work. He took over after Mike Scott left after 4 innings, and the Reds wasted no time getting to Clancy. They scored a run on 3 hits off of him in the 5th inning, and it could have been more had it not been for that controversial call, the out call on Eric Davis. Tuffy Rhodes making a throw to Eric Yelding, and the second base umpire ruling that the tag was made. Davis, who rarely ever argues with anybody about anything, got right up in Randy Bruns' face, but of course the call stood, and as a result the Reds got but 1 run in the inning on a 2-out base hit by Hal Morris. Jeff Reed, Bill Dorn, and Tom Browning here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Reed drew an intentional walk in that 5-run 4th, and he scored a run.
Well, if we can go by what we saw in spring training, Marty, it sure looks like Jeff Reed's going to get a lot more playing time than last year. You know, last year, up until the All-Star break, he really didn't have a whole lot of at-bats.
No, you're right, Gordy. The bulk of his playing time last year came after the All-Star break, and he did an outstanding job. Really started to swing the bat in the second half of the season, batted around 289 or 290 in the second half of the year, and really had a good spring. He clearly had a much better spring than Joe Oliver did. Oliver, of course, had the shoulder problems, but that certainly should not have reflected in the way he swung the bat, which really wasn't all that good. And Reed did.
And it sure was an opportunity for a whole lot of other folks down there. We saw a lot of catchers in spring training.
Well, you saw Donnie Scott. You saw Glenn Sutko. Of course, a kid that they are looking forward to down the road is their #1 draft pick out of the University of Minnesota from last June in Danny Wilson. And everybody who saw that young man catch just absolutely raved about his defensive abilities, as is the case so often with a young man coming out of high school or college. It boils down to his progression as a hitter.
Well, I guess they programmed him to catch a AA baseball. It's a little, tough step to step out from, Charleston, which is Class A baseball, to the big leagues in 1 year. That's a tough grind.
Well, they got the beach ball off the field. And Jeff Reed ready to go to work on Jim Clancy and vice versa. The ball.
When you look back at Clancy's statistics, he's been around the big leagues pretty good while. He's goes all the way back to Toronto many years ago.
That's a measure of success for the Blue Jays. 2 balls and no strikes. If you can believe there's stories and the rumors, the Astros would love to unload him. But his contract is so heavy monetarily that they can't find anybody to take him, and rather than release him and eat the contract, they're going to go ahead and use him.
Because he is one of the few veterans that's left on this club.
Well, both pitchers starting 3 balls and no strikes coming out of the rain delay, and there's ball 4 to Reed. Browning was able to come back, of course, and retire Yelding. But Clancy not so fortunate as he walks Reed, and Billy Doran now marks his first plate appearance of 1991. The Reds were just able to beat the trade deadline late last August in bringing Doran in from Houston, but of course Billy suffered the back injury and missed all of the postseason. He was saying a few days ago, boy, I want to see this club win again because I want to truly be a part of it. From the very first day, he was a major contributor in the month of September. Had some big hits, played second base well, and it was very unfortunate that Bill was out of the playoffs and the World Series.
When he joined his ball club, Marty, the first week he was here, they asked him to play third base. He hadn't been there in the big league.
Did a good job, too. Count evens at 1-1. It is 6-1 Cincinnati in the bottom of the 6th inning. Reds have out hit the Astros 8-2. They've got Reed over at first with nobody out. Good pitch, breaking ball away, and Doran didn't have a real good swing at it.
No, sir, he had him off stride there. Well, earlier in spring training, Marty, when they projected when this young man would be playing, they were talking then, what, May 1?
Yeah. He sure beat the odds as far as the projected starting date. Right center. Rhodes. And Reed back to first. Well, can Tom Browning do it again?
Well, with the 5-run lead, you think they're going to just have him bunt the man to second base and get him off the base pass so he won't have to run, or let him swing again?
Let's see if Clancy tries to throw that high gas by him like Mike Scott did. Well, they look for him to bunt with Hatcher on deck. Caminiti well in at third. Oh, he was going to give him the old slug bunt routine.
Yes, sir. Tom loves to do that.
Got a little touch of trickery here in the 6th.
Seen that guy coming in third base, Mr. Caminiti. I remember doing that one time in a situation I thought was almost natural. He took the button off the top of my cap.
Did you lose 4 or 5 years?
Yeah, and 4 innings of breath.
Oh, mercy. Well, I guess that's why those third basemen get paid so well.
Yes, sir.
You remember how Pete Rose played Mickey Rivers in the '76 World Series. I'll tell you, that takes some real courage.
He was up even with the pitcher.
Yeah. Ball 2, 2-0.
Wonder how many innings Lou expects, at a time. What was his longest in spring training? 6?
Yeah, but I tell you, he's had such an easy time of it today. I mean, there's no question he's going to go back in the 7th. They got the bullpen started as soon as he went 3-0 on Yelding coming out of the rain delay, but nobody throwing down there now. That's as good as a bunt, although it won't be scored a sacrifice.
You figure Tom has been, what, 3 balls on 2 hitters today?
Yep. Billy Hatcher will bat with 2 outs. Speaking of Pete Rose, Gordy, we certainly want to wish him nothing but the best. Pete out of the halfway house now, and we just hope that his life is nothing but positives from here on out. He will always be a very, very special person to so many of us, and we hope that things go well for him.
You betcha, Marty.
Hatcher's reached on an error, fouled out to Biggio, and bounced to second. So it's been a rather quiet opening day for the residents of Houston, Texas. Boy, how things change for Billy Hatcher in a year's time. Started the spring of 1990 disgruntled as an extra outfielder with the Pittsburgh Pirates, then came the trade to Cincinnati. Immediately went to the lineup, and what a big, big plus he was for this club. Caminiti slipped as he started to make his throw, but still got it on to Bagwell in time to win the inning. At the end of 6 full, the Reds lead Houston by 5.
The world champion Reds meet the Braves in the first weekend series on Saturday, April the 13th at 2:15. And guess who will be at Riverfront to kick off the 1991 promotional season? Tony the Tiger. The first 15,000 fans in attendance, 14 and under, will receive a free Red cereal bowl, compliments of Kellogg's and Tony the Tiger. A great way for young Red fans to start every day of the season is Kellogg's Frosted Flakes in your very own Red cereal bowl. That's great Reds action and a free Red cereal bowl on Tony the Tiger Day, Saturday, April the 13th at 2:15.
Luis Gonzalez opening up the 7th inning, and he sends one down the line, and a foul ball. Browning through 6 innings has given Houston 2 hits. The Craig Biggio home run in the 4th inning, and a single in that same frame by Ken Caminiti.
This young man showed great minor league power last year when he had 22 home runs.
24 of those bad boys.
24.
Yes, sir. 89 RBIs. He stole 27 bases. He came out of a pretty good baseball program, Jefferson High in Tampa, Florida. He played with Tino Martinez, who was the #1 prospect in the Seattle Mariners organization. Gonzalez having a rough time today, however. Browning gets his 4th punch out.
Here it is again. It's the same pitch he's got him on every time today. He keeps questioning that ball on the outside part of the plate, but that ball's strike.
Well, if the young man doesn't learn anything other than that today, he's going to learn. Don't argue with that umpire time and again about that pitch. Caminiti is single in 2 trips. Larkin, Morris, 2 out. When I think spring, I think Reds baseball, and I think grilling out with JTM hamburgers, pork chopettes, and of course beef grill steaks. If you don't have that combination in your freezer, you're missing out on one of the truly real pleasures of spring. Nothing tastes better hot off the grill than JTM burgers, chops, and steaks, and you can take that to the bank. The rookie Bagwell is 0 for 1 plus a walk. We had terrible skies and a lot of rain before the game. Beautiful skies, more rain and cloudy skies, and now we've got some blue again. Bagwell is blue because O'Neill has it. And the inning is over, and another routine inning for Tom Browning. Reds in the 7th lead 6-1. Now the stretch 7th here at Riverfront Stadium, and fans in a festive mood, as you might expect, what with a home team leading by a score of 6-1. Jim Clancy entering his 3rd inning of work, and he'll be facing Barry Larkin, Paul O'Neill, and Eric Davis. And the bullpen for the Reds right now with double barrel action as Clancy works. And Larkin, who's had a couple of hits today, takes ball 1. The left-hander is Chris Hammond, and the right-hander is Tim Leana. A couple of youngsters. Biggio, mask off, got it. Now, you probably heard earlier, and if you didn't, we're going to let you know that the umpire strike was settled. They reached an agreement on a 4-year contract today, ending a 2-day strike. But the agreement came obviously too late for them to work this afternoon's opening day games. So that's the reason why we've got the amateur umpires on hand here today. And no doubt all over Major League Baseball, where they are opening ball games in other league cities in both the National and the American. We will have the regular National League umpires no doubt on hand here for the Wednesday night ball game. Paul O'Neill has doubled in 3 trips, and he has scored a run. Hit well. Left field. That ball. Nice catch.
He made a nice play on that ball.
Excellent play by Luis Gonzalez. We talk about this young man's relative inexperience as an outfielder, and that's got to be one of the toughest balls for any outfielder to play.
And the ball's hooking away from him. See it tailing back. That left-hander hitting the ball. It was hooking back to the left field line.
So a fine play by the young man who misjudged the ball hit to left field by O'Neill earlier in the game. Good play, Luis Gonzalez. Eric Davis looking for his 3rd hit. He is 2 for 3. 2 singles. A fly ball to left, and Gonzalez will take care of that. And an easy and perfect inning for Clancy. Steve Lamar will be coming back to join Gordy and carry you the rest of the way. 6-1 Cincinnati.
Well, here we go into the top half of the 8th inning. Welcome back, Steve Lamar, and I hope you're as fortunate for us this time around. The last time you were here, you got us 5 big runs. Get us a couple more.
Yeah, it worked out all right.
Yes, sir.
Tom Browning is sailing along. He's retired 10 in a row, and he's pitching to Cincinnati's Carl Rose of Houston. Plays for the Astros, hails from Cincinnati. 3 balls and no strikes to the youngster.
He made a nice recovery and a throw in that ball, and Eric Davis argued about it at second base, but he hustled and that ball, got the ball in real nicely.
Yes, he did. Rhodes hit .244 in 39 games with Houston last year, taking all the way, and it's a strike called as Rhodes started to throw the bat away. Trying to work his way on base and get something going for the Astros, who trail 6-1 to the Reds in the 8th inning. Line drive to left. Billy Hatcher will have to play it on a hop. Carl Rhodes goes the other way and lines a base hit to left to stop Browning's string at 10 consecutive batters retired. And now we take a look at the Valvoline National League scoreboard. Lots of daytime action on opening day in the National League.
Pittsburgh's opening up under the lights tonight.
And we'll update the American League scores in the bottom of this inning. Line drive, foul down the left field line off the bat of Mark McLemore. Rob Dibble and Tim Leona in the bullpen.
It's really amazing when Dibble gets up, he throws 2 or 3 pitches, and after that they're about 95 mile an hour after about 3 pitches.
Hi to McLemore, switch hitting second baseman of the Astros. He booted the first ball hit to him today by the leadoff batter in the 1st inning, Billy Hatcher, but it did not lead to any scoring. Here's the delivery away from him. 2-1.
You figure, Steve, that Tom has not been this far in a ball game this spring, so this is, extra innings for him.
All right, he went 6 1/3 last Wednesday night against the Detroit Tigers in spring training. Rafael Ramirez on deck. There's a ground ball to third. Sabo has it to second, to first. A double play.
Nice stretch by Morris.
Sabo, Doran, and Morris teamed up on that one around the horn. 2 out and nobody on.
I tell you what, McLemore runs pretty well. Yes, sir. Watch this stretch by Morris. He gets as far out as he can go. You can't get any further. Nice play.
And now the pinch batter, Rafael Ramirez, with the bases empty and 2 out in the 8th inning. Ralphie's been around as a regular shortstop in the major leagues for quite a while, of course, with Atlanta and Houston. Last year he hit .261 for the Astros with 2 homers and 37 runs batted in.
He hit the ball pretty good in spring training for them too, didn't he?
I believe he did. But Eric Yelding was the opening day shortstop today. Ralphie takes one high and away, 1-0. Big crowd, better than 55,000 here at Riverfront today. There's a strike to Ramirez.
This young man's a dead first ball fastball hitter, so he's really he'll jump on that fastball.
A ball and 2 strikes, and we'd like to welcome Nationwide Insurance and its agents to our team for 1991. Remember, for all your insurance needs, Nationwide is on your side. Browning working in the 8th inning. That pitch fouled away over the screen.
I'll tell you how aggressive this young man is as a hitter. In his 11 years in the major leagues, he's had more errors than walks. So he don't take too many pitches.
You're trying to say he's up there hacking?
Yes, sir. He will swing.
Short right field. Doran calling, now getting called off by O'Neill, who makes the catch to retire the side. We go to the bottom of the 8th in Cincinnati. Reds 6, Astros 1. Bottom of the 8th inning, and Hal Morris is the leadoff hitter for the Cincinnati Reds, who leads 6-1. Morris has a base hit and a run batted in today. Reds have 8 base hits on the afternoon. Ground ball, first base just foul.
Facing Mr. Darryl Kyle for the first time.
The rookie making his major league debut. Darryl Kyle.
Big kid, 6'5". He's only been in pro ball since 1988, so he's moved pretty quickly.
The Astros people rave about him. They say he can really get it up there. He's 22 years old.
Interesting stats from last year, though. He pitched at Tucson, which is their AAA farm club last year. He was only 5-10 with an ERA of 6.40. So
yeah, he gave up a lot more hits than innings pitched. Strike 3 called. So there's something that Mr. Kyle will never forget. First batter he faces in the major leagues, he strikes him out.
He threw that ball pretty good.
Yeah, he did. One out, the bottom of the 8th inning. Chris Sabo, the hitter. Breaking ball, good one. Strike call.
Well, he throws the ball pretty hard. Even his breaking stuff's hard.
Yep. Darryl Kyle. Line drive, left field, in the bullpen, and foul.
He's looking at a pretty good fastball hitter.
Sabo loves that hard stuff. Mike Scott started. Jim Clancy pitched 3 innings in relief, and now it is young Darryl Kyle. Missing with it to go to a ball and 2 strikes on Sabo. Pop foul back our way. It will be out of play. Now the Reds' newest acquisition, Don Carmen, is throwing in the Cincinnati bullpen.
Mr. Dibble has said no.
The 1-2 pitch. And a breaking ball that misses. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
I don't think this fellow's going to try to trick you. It looks like he is a power pitcher.
2-2. Down in the dirt, 3-2 count. The big inning for the Reds today was the bottom of the 4th. They scored 5 times. Barry Larkin led off that 4th inning with a home run off Mike Scott, and the big hit in the inning, a 3-run double by pitcher Tom Browning. It is 6-1 Cincinnati. We're in the bottom of the 8th. Another line drive, and that is foul out in the bullpen.
I'm sure manager Lou Piniella is just tickled pink today that he got 8 innings at this point out of Tom Browning. You know, that's just amazing for opening day after 6 being your tops.
Browning has been in control all day long. Here's the pitch. And Sable fouls it straight back into the upper deck and right out of the upper deck.
You figure that he's only had 3 balls on 3 hitters today.
In attendance today, paid crowd 55,205. Line drive, Caminiti down to his knees to Spirit at third base. A crowd of 55,205, the 3rd largest regular season crowd in Reds history and the largest ever against Houston.
Here it is again. Watch this. He really gets ahead of that batter in front. He really stayed right with the ball. He hit it hard, just right at him.
So Caminiti put that one away at third base. And the hitter is Jeff Reed with the bases empty and 2 out, and Darryl Kyle misses up high. When we go to the 9th, the Astros will have the top of their batting order. Eric Yelding, Steve Finley, and Craig Biggio. They will be batting in that 9th inning, trailing by at least 5 runs. It's 6-1 Reds. And it's 2-0 to Jeff Reed. Mr. Reed, the opening day catcher. Up the middle and a base hit. Hit number 9 for Cincinnati. And the first one ever given up by Darryl Kyle in his major league career.
Well, if he stays up here for a while, it won't be the last.
No, I think they'll probably get a few more off it.
Yes, sir.
2 out and a man on. And the hitter is Billy Doran. He came on in the 5th inning to replace Mariano Duncan, who strained a hamstring today. Doran 0 for 1. And he fouls it away off third.
I'm sure Billy's got some feelings today. You figure the number of years that he was with the Astros on their opening day at their place.
Yep. First time he has opened a major league season anywhere other than with Houston. He's back home. Bill Doran. Reed the lead at first. 2 out. The 0-1 pitch. Fouled away off third. Now it's 0-2. Doran really made a remarkable recovery from the back surgery that he underwent in October of last year.
There's no question about that, Steve, but I think you can still see when Billy's swinging the bat. I mean, that's the 2nd time today that he's had a sort of a funny cut at the ball.
Yeah, you're right.
He's not 100% right now.
There's a liner and a base hit into right center.
You don't have to be 100%.
Reed will try for third. Finley throwing there. The tag. He is out. Jeff Reed thrown out at third base by the Astros' new center fielder, Steve Finley. 2 hits in the inning, 1 left. We head to the 9th. 6-1, Cincinnati. Steve Lamar with Gordy Coleman and Marty Brenneman at Riverfront. We're in the 9th inning. Tom Browning is trying to make it a complete game victory on opening day, and he's ahead of the leadoff hitter in the 9th, Eric Yelding, 1 strike. Next one, line toward right center, and it drops. Base hit. It could shoot through, but no. Eric knocks it down. Yelding, who can really scoot, is around second. He'll be into third, standing up.
Yes, sir. Once that ball got in the outfield, the way Mr. Yelding can run, there was no question that had to be a triple.
All right, let's take a look at the Valvoline American League scoreboard on opening day. Sammy Sosa has 2 home runs in that one for the White Sox. Jack Clark a grand slam on opening day in his debut with the Red Sox. Steve Finley takes up and away.
In the Reds bullpen, we have Mr. Dibble and Mr. Myers.
Not a surprise, I suppose.
No, sir.
Finley taking strike 1 called. It's 1-1. Dibble the right-hander, of course, and Randy Myers the southpaw. Co-MVPs of the National League Championship Series last year. Browning deals. Center field. Here comes Eric. Taps the thigh. 1 down. The run will score as Yelding comes across, and it's a 6-2 ball game. Say the family of Budweiser beers is proud of all the friendships they've helped make. So when they remind you to know when to say when, It's all in the name of friendships. Steve Finley has his first National League RBI. 6-2 Cincinnati in the 9th inning. 1 out, nobody on, and the hitter is Craig Biggio. Biggio hit only 4 home runs all of last year. He hit one his second time up on opening day today, and he takes a strike, 1-1. One out in the 9th inning. Line drive to left. That'll be a base hit in front of Billy Hatcher. So Biggio opens the 1991 season by going 2 for 4.
I don't think there's any question, Steve, here in the 9th inning that Tom doesn't have the rhythm or the fastball that he had early in the ball game. But we're talking about the 9th inning after not going any more than 6. So I guess they can't expect more. Here comes Stan out now.
Stan Williams, the pitching coach, making his way to the mound. Myers and Dibble are in the bullpen. And that'll be it for Tom Browning.
He gets a well-deserved hand.
A standing ovation at Riverfront for Tom Browning. He goes 8 1/3 strong innings and leaves with a 4-run lead in the top of the 9th. So we have a pause in the action in the 9th with a score: the Reds 6, the Astros 2. We'll be back in a moment. A beautiful outing for that gentleman, Tom Browning, on opening day. Allowed only 2 runs and 5 hits in 8 1/3 innings. Walked 1, struck out 4. He leaves with a 4-run lead and a man on base, his responsibility. And there's Randall Kirk Myers.
What a year that was. How about that? Unfortunately, with the wins and losses, the 4 and 6. But when you look at that ERA with a 2.08 and the job that he did in 86 2/3 innings, gave up 59 hits and punched out 98, that's a pretty good summer.
Randy will be pitching to the rookie left fielder, Luis Gonzalez.
This young man's had a long way to go today.
Really. And he takes one out of the strike zone, 1-0.
They tried him with the same pitch to start him off that Browning's been getting with all day, that breaking ball away from him.
Biggio at first, 1 out, 9th inning. 2-0. Well, here is Luis Gonzalez, opening day left fielder for the Astros, and batting cleanup. He has to face Tom Browning. Goes 0 for 3, pops up once, called out on strikes twice. Now they bring in Myers to face him in the 9th. What a way to open up. 3-0 though now to Gonzalez.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. This is something that bothered Randy in spring training. His control was off down there.
There is a strike.
Ooh, that young man don't want to be doing that, trying to toss that bat away, because those big league umpires don't like that. Those umpires don't like that.
Yeah, Randy Myers walked 7 in 14 1/3 innings in spring training. 3-1 pitch, fouled away. Now he has him on a full count. Jose Rio and Jim Deshaies in game 2 of the season, and the series Wednesday night after an open date tomorrow.
Boy, that sounds like a good matchup.
Norm Charlton and Pete Harnish on Thursday night. Ball 4. Randy Myers comes on and walks the first hitter he faces, the rookie left-handed batter, Luis Gonzalez. Ken Caminiti is the batter. Third baseman, 1 out of 3 today, and an opposite field single off Browning in the 4th inning. 6-2 Reds. We're in the top of the 9th. 1 out and 2 on. Missing as Myers, and Reed will go out for a visit. Right now we pause 5 seconds for station identification on the Cincinnati Reds television network.
Your #1 sports station in Cincinnati, WLWT.
Steve Lamar with Gordy Coleman and Marty Brenneman at Riverfront Stadium. It's opening day. The Reds have a 4-run lead in the 9th inning. But the Astros have a threat going. They've scored once in the inning. They have 2 on and 1 out, and Ken Caminiti batting. Randy Myers delivers. Now he goes to 2-0 on Caminiti, and Myers has had to struggle here in the ninth.
Rob Dibble continues to throw in the Reds bullpen.
The 2-0 pitch. Ball 3. Myers walked the first batter he faced, Luis Gonzalez, a left-hander hitter.
It looks like Randy is trying to be too cautious out there. He's, really going for spots.
Caminiti takes the strike. Biggio at second, Gonzalez at first. 1 down in the 9th inning.
How about a 6-4-3 right here?
I'll take it. Yes, sir. Ball 4. Randy Myers has walked the first 2 batters he has faced. The bases are loaded, and the Astros bring the tying run to the plate. Here comes Stan Williams again.
It looks like he's out of there.
Rob Dibble is in the bullpen.
Mr. Dibble was quoted as saying he'd like to get more save opportunity. He's sure coming into one right here.
He's going to get one. Myers is out of the game, and Rob Dibble will come on. So another pause in the action in the top of the 9th. With the score, Cincinnati 6, Houston 2. We'll return in a moment. 27-year-old Rob Dibble will try to save it for the Reds in the top of the 9th inning. Taking over for Randy Myers, who faced only 2 batters and walked them both.
Boy, just take a look at those numbers. When you look at those statistics from last year and see there's 136 strikeouts in 98 innings, that tells a story.
And Rob was really something against the Astros last year. He pitched 15 innings against Houston and did not give up an earned run. The rookie, Jeff Bagwell, batting with the bases loaded and 1 out. Off the fist and foul off first base and into the crowd.
I'm certainly sure a lot of those Astro hitters have told this young man about how hard this fella throws, but I just wonder if they could tell you what that slider's like at 92 miles an hour that he hadn't seen yet.
There may be no way to explain that.
No, sir.
That is foul and out of play, and it's 2 strikes to Bagwell.
And I think with the count the way it is right now, he might have a chance of seeing that pitch.
Craig Biggio, Luis Gonzalez, and Ken Caminiti, the runners 3rd to 1st in the 9th with 1 out. The Reds leading 6-2.
Mr. Dibble's going to introduce him to that 92-mile slider right here.
I think you're right. Ooh, and he bounced it. Reed made a great play.
Great play by Jeff Reed. He just saved a run.
Dibble waiting for the plate umpire, Frank Molina, to send out a new baseball to him. Game at Tiger Stadium is over. Detroit beat the Yankees 6-4. Paul Gibson won it. Greg Cadaret lost it. Mike Henneman got the save. Trammell homered for Detroit. Kevin Moss and Mike Blowers for the Yankees. 1-2 the count to Bagwell with the bases loaded. Over his head, and it's now 2-2.
That got up there pretty quick, partner.
Yes, sir. That can shake you up.
Hey, here we go. Watch this on a replay. Now, when you see that pitch like that, that ball is over that plate 0.14 of a second.
Another one up and in. Now it's a full count to Bagwell. The Astros with a real threat going in the top of the 9th. The bases are loaded, 1 out. The Reds lead by 4 runs, and Rob Dibble is trying to save it. Foul away.
This young man is battling.
He hangs in there. Talking to some Houston people last night, and they were telling us that This Bagwell's a tough customer. He is an intense competitor. And although he's playing in his first major league game, making his big league debut and facing Rob Dibble in the 9th inning with the game on the line, boy, he hangs right in there. He does not give an inch.
And I'm going to tell you what, Steve, this young man is not only having to battle big league pitching, but he's learning a new position in the big leagues under those kind of pressures in 10 days.
You're right. He only played 10 games at first base in spring training. 3-2 pitch. Up the middle. Larkin has it. Steps on second. It's all over. Barry Larkin handles the line drive off the bat of Jeff Bagwell and turns it into a double play to win the ball game. And the Reds have opened up the 1991 season with a 6-2 victory over the Houston Astros. It was in doubt for a while, but the Reds came up with a victory. Final score 6-2 Cincinnati, and we'll be back in a moment. The Cincinnati Reds coming up with a 6-2 victory over the Houston Astros today on opening day at Riverfront Stadium. And well, it was a little shaky there in the 9th inning, but nice play by Barry Larkin to help pull it out.
You betcha. You know, Steve, for an opening day ball game, this thing was pretty well played. Other than the misjudged fly ball in left field, this thing went like midsummer script.
Tom Browning was outstanding in a starting role for the Cincinnati Reds. He went the first 8 1/3 innings and picks up the opening day victory. He had quite a game.
You betcha. That base hit was a big. I'm going to tell you what, that broke that game open real quick.
That's right. A 3-run double by Tom Browning in that big 5-run 4th inning. Now we'll take a look at today's nationwide insurance defensive play of the game. It happened in the 9th inning. No, it did not. 8th inning, a double play ball hit into by Mark McLemore, and look at the big stretch by Hal Morris at first base, and that helped Tom Browning get out of that 8th inning. That's our nationwide insurance play of the game, and Nationwide salutes the outstanding defensive play of the Reds' Hal Morris.
6-2 the final. The Reds score a victory in game 1 of the 1991 baseball season, and it was a good day all the way around. A big 5-run inning early to erase a 1-0 Houston lead after the home run on the top of the 4th by Craig Biggio. Tom Browning, I gotta believe, Gordy, that he probably exceeded the expectations of Lou Piniella and Stan Williams taking this game into the 9th inning.
I don't think there's any question about it, Marty. When I was talking with Stan Williams down in spring training, he figured if you get 6 or 7 innings out of a pitcher down there, the 2 innings up here, because of the difference in climate, would add to it. Undoubtedly with Tom, he did, because he went into the 9th inning with good stuff.
Talking about Tom Browning, why not? He's our McDonald's player of the game. McDonald's restaurants in the tri-state area will donate $500 in Tom Browning's name to the Cincinnati Ronald McDonald House. The Ronald McDonald House serves as a home away from home for the families of seriously ill children being treated at Children's Hospital. Our congratulations to Tom Browning as our McDonald's player of the game. It is over at Riverfront, game 1, and the Reds have beaten Houston 6-2. We'll be back.
In 1983, the team of Jerry Springer and Norma Rashid started bringing Cincinnati the news. In 1991, they still are. That's a claim the other stations can't make about their anchor teams. They've had plenty of changes, and there may be more to come. Jerry Springer and Norma Rashid. Your team for the 80s is your team for the 90s. Jerry and Norma, a team you can depend on, leading the #1 rated news on your exclusive 24-hour news channel. News Channel 5.
That's your final 6-2 Reds over the Astros. Just a reminder, our next televised game on the Reds Television Network will be Friday, April the 19th from Fulton County Stadium in Atlanta. 7:30 our start time, the Reds against the Atlanta Braves. For Gordy Coleman and Steve Lamar, Marty Brenneman saying from Riverfront Stadium, so long, everybody. This has been a Cincinnati Reds Television Network production of Multimedia Sports.